What if the state of Texas ends up dominating college football this year? Big gasp. Yes, I know. So this would obviously include Texas being really good, but this would also include Texas A&M being really good. People don't have trouble buying that Texas would be good. You know, the JP poll, I can now confirm for you as of 20 minutes ago, has Texas A&M rated 13 to start the season. A&M's not to be slept on this year. Still a lot of good players out there. Connor Wigman, as a quarterback, if he's healthy, with Mike Elko, who, whatever you're capable of, will squeeze every ounce of potential out of you. What if they're both good? What if out of all this talk about a rematch in a conference title game, it ends up being Texas and Texas A&M that play in Atlanta 6 days after they originally play? Crazier things have happened. That would be crazy, but crazier things have happened. But that's not all it takes to dominate. TCU, Texas Tech, Baylor, can one of them emerge in the Big 12? The rule in the Big 12 is nothing is impossible. SMU is in the ACC, you know. SMU, I didn't tell you this. You didn't hear this from me. SMU is a top 30 team in the JP poll. And unlike the SEC, the ACC is not a conference chock full of top 15 teams. So you get some bounces to go your way. In Dallas, there, the over-under win total's 8.5. What if they pull off some magic? UTSA's got the third best odds to win the American. Texas State has the second best odds to win the Sun Belt. But that's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking what if one of those things happen. I'm talking about full lottery. I'm talking about full slot machine, pull the lever, 777s pop up. Texas and Texas A&M play at a top 10 level this year. One of TCU, Texas Tech, or Baylor go dark horse mode and win the Big 12. SMU is in the ACC championship game. Texas State wins the Sun Belt. UTSA wins the American. Well, the state of Texas would be as insufferable as it's ever been in a long, long and storied history of insufferability. That's the answer to the what if. I'd be here for it because we do great in Texas. But as for the rest of you, it would be a long December, a longer December than the Counting Crows ever thought about singing. Next up, what if Oregon wins the Big Ten? It would be a big shot to the pride bone of the Big Ten. Not in a good way. Now, Oregon would be on top of the world. Oregon could go on to do great things. Maybe they win the national championship. Whomst amongst us knows. But for a conference that prides itself as being one of the best in America, Matt Rule says it is the best in America. For a conference that prides itself on being one of, if not the best in America, you can't just be letting Oregon come in and pants you, can you? But maybe they will. Now, some good would come of this. Sometimes it takes being exposed. And if that's what we want to call that, that's fine. Oregon's a really good team. There's no shame in losing to them. But if they come in and day one, they just walk right to the head table, boy, it makes it look bad. The optics are the Big Ten was just ripe for the plucking. And some team that was in the Pac-12 5 minutes ago came in and did it. How strong really were we? That's how they talk about it. Whether that's reality, whether that's logical or not, that's how they talk about it. But it would be good in some ways because that embarrassment would lead to a collective galvanization and it would lead to people collectively saying, well, we got to up our game. And when a conference gets it in its mind that it has to up its game, not the worst thing in the world. Lastly, this is scary stuff for my friends down in Louisiana. What if LSU regresses again? So they went 9-3 last year. Yeah, you remember how bad the defense was. They would have been a playoff team if we had a 12-team format last year. So it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrific or anything like that. And they ended up 10-3 with the bowl win. So they ended up a double-digit win team with a Heisman Trophy winner. Trust me, it can get a lot worse than that. So what if they slide further back? What if instead of a springboard bounce-back year, they slide further back? Their over-under win total is 9.5. It's heavily juiced to the under. So what if they go 8-4? First off, is that really regressing? Now, this is really where you'd have some detachment of logic from emotion. Because to me, I look at LSU, and that's one of the most volatile teams in America this year. Because there are really good players there they could compete for a title with. And there are really big holes, potentially in question marks on that roster they could go 7-5 with. That's a really volatile team. If they go 8-4, that's not a disaster. It's not up to standard. It's believable they could go 8-4 though. And it's believable that I could look at them go 8-4. I could easily envision a world where I say, all right, yeah, it wasn't good enough. But we should have known when they whiffed in the portal that they wouldn't have the defensive front depth to make it through an entire season. We should have known that there were going to be several hiccups along the way, but they made the right hires. Now, this time next year, year 2 under this defensive staff, and maybe they made better portal moves. They're recruiting great right now. I would feel like, all right, everything's fine here, but everything wouldn't be fine. That's logic. So we're talking about emotion, not logic. The emotional reaction would be, burn it down. 8-4, what are we doing right now? Burn it down. Let's start over. And then that's the fringed like 5%. But then there would be another solid, fairly reasonable chunk of 20% or 30% of LSU fans who would also think, hot seat talk, Brian Kelly's got to either shape up or ship out if people still say that. And I don't think it would be time to talk like that at all. And it would be depending on who the losses were to, and are they close losses? Are they blowouts? Yes, I get all that. But is 8-4 really regression? Yes, it is backwards, but is it really viewed as regression? I don't know.